You know, vote for one or more. That's fine. Use thumbs up to count. Let me just share this again so that people that are looking at the recording understand what I'm doing. Okay, there we go. So, for example, .NET, I'll do core / Linux. That's my interest. And so then I can thumbs up to count my vote. But I also want Golang because I love Golang. And so I'm going to also vote for that. I was talking about some Rust stuff with James in a loose association last night. So Rust Lang, I know it's usually built for performance systems, but just like Golang was thought to be just infrastructure type of code. It's really nice to see entire applications, user line of business applications being done with that. So I'm going to also vote for that. I'm voting for everything. And also Node. We'll put that in. And we'll vote for that. And of course, CLI or terminal. I definitely want to see that, which is just bash and other things. Bash and scripting. Can I edit that? Clarify. Message. Bash. Fish, etc. No tech. So, you know, interpreting things as just exported files of text. We can grep over them and things like that. It's actually quite a powerful thing. And in fact, I should mention JQ probably is one of those. Oops, I want to edit. One of the things about event-centric architectures is that it kind of defaults to JSON, and then it's because we're used to tabular stuff, and even with using you know, Postgres and NoSQL tooling, MariaDB, and all these different things, you have usually running some SQL statements through on the command line. You get tabular data out. Well, what happens with JSON? You need HTTPIE and all these other things to prettify that. JQ is really cool. It's a really cool little utility that I always want to include in my presentations, because if you're dealing with a lot of JSON serialization, JQ is a way to manipulate JSON streams and output. For example, we had a production problem, or we had one thing deployed for a client across the other side of the world, and they wanted a CSV export, right? So that would be easy with a SQL database, and I didn't want to bother writing another read model to get that information out, to just have a SQL table to give them that information in tabular format. So what I ended up doing is giving them well, just going to the command line and streaming everything from their production event store through my command line, using JQ to filter and form and fill out a CSV. So definitely look at JQ if you're dealing with event-driven architectures. You're going to be dealing with a lot of JSON serialized data, and JQ is your friend. You're going to, if you learn that, you're going to be able to swim through that data, navigate it very quickly, get to what you want without these intermediate steps of having to create tabular formats in some sort of a SQL store or Excel. It's going to allow you to dive in very quickly. It's got a very similar syntax to selectors and CSS and XSLT. So if you have history of some of those things dealing with front end HTML or dealing with XSLT for XML documents from the back, it's the selectors there are going to be quite familiar to you. And the nice thing is that on the command line, you can pipe them through to one another. So you can go through um, one selector to another, just piping things, stringing them along, shaping your data to exactly how you want to see it simply by hitting up arrow and editing a little bit, adding something, hitting enter, seeing what you get, go up, modify, etc. We can play with that too once we get some events written to that. So okay, everyone loves the .NET part, which is great, and I think we have an even smattering of everything else. So one of the things that I wanted to make sure we understand and make use of during this time is we don't want to be excluding anyone. So what I've done in the workshops before is made sure that we use Nginx to support multiple stacks. And this is kind of the important thing about the benefits of flattening that cost curve to having that open-close principle guided, that open-close principle guidance. So let me share the board again, and I'll show you what I mean. Maybe do a little bit of a descriptive diagram there. I've never used the freehand tool. Maybe I'll draw with the freehand tool on here. Stop the sharing and start the share for the other one. This is kind of a nicer, smaller group than last time. Last time was like 60 people. So I think we're going to be able to do a little bit more together. I've been trying to coordinate so many different questions. So I'm going to share. Where is my... I guess I can just share the whole desktop. Okay. I don't think I have anything really bad on here. Don't need to see that. Okay. So if I go here, freehand, where's the freehand thing? That's a connection line. Oh, this pencil, that's what it is. Pencil, smart drawing. Let's see if smart drawing works. Okay, cool. So if we have our client here, and we make a request, this is the browser. On the server side, what we want is we want an instance of Nginx. I guess it kind of works. I'm using the touch screen here.
Yeah, Adam, we're not seeing Miro.
What's that?
We're not seeing Miro.
Oh, you're not seeing Miro. I shared the whole screen. Interesting.
Somebody else can say whether they're seeing anything. I'm not.
Yeah, anyone else having an issue with that? Not seeing Miro? That's not good.
No, just the desktop.
Just the desktop. Okay, I'm seeing Miro on mine. Huh, okay, I'm gonna stop because I think I'm sharing the wrong screen. Let's try again. Thanks for pointing that out. Okay, how about now?
Now it's good.
Yep.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so let's try that again. I'm gonna try and use a thicker. That's better. Okay. So that's not good either. So we have our client sitting somewhere else using a web browser. And requests come in and they hit an Nginx instance or whatever, what happens with that is when we look at our event model, we have some of these event handlers and some of these command handlers, they need to be implemented in something. So let's say we have a .NET command handler. No, I don't like this smart drawing thing. Thanks. I think that's, hold on a second. Maybe if I'm just better at it. If I draw a square, will it know to draw a square? Ah, okay, good. Much better. All right, so I just wish I had the handwriting recognition, but there's no way you can decipher what I'm doing. So if this is a Docker container and it's .NET, we can route, for example, /register. That says reg. Maybe I should write those things down. Okay. So registration, anything to do with registration, well, let's just say command handlers. So registration / maybe it's user / registration. How's that? Let's get rid of these. So user reg. So that obviously maps to an imperative. I want to do something, so it's a command. And we can also have user / I'm just going to type these. This is just getting a little too messy. I saw Alexei do this drawing thing on Miro before, and he was just a little bit nicer about it than I am. The fonts to be something large. Nginx. Right, and this is browser for some client. You can imagine it's one of these screens up here and one of these actors looking at it for now. So it goes to Nginx, and we have the .NET stack here. And here, this arrow actually represents /user /register /user /list, maybe for admin, list of users. And maybe it's user /login. Should have made it bigger. Okay. Maybe let's get rid of the word list of users and just do users. And why not user /logout? And once we're done that, so that's our system boundary. And also what we're going to have is one more thing I got to do here. Sorry, I'm just being a little OCD about this, but I think it'll help me describe things a little bit faster later. It's fine. Ah, that's beautiful. Okay. Okay, well, that's good. Yeah, if someone wants to jump in and do some of the smart drawing too, that would be really cool. Thank you. All right, so Nginx, what it'll do is it'll route these things here, but let's say we really want to have Node.js, because we have some people that like that or prefer that to code. Do we want to come on? Now, one of the things about a touch screen is selecting tiny little things is a hit and miss with your finger, at least in my case. So in here, the route we could take is, for example, some of the other things, such as in Node, we might want to have time entry. I wonder what a good URL would be. Some RESTful API experts, what do we want to call this route that we could intelligently move here? If I want to do time tracking, so I guess tracking is a good domain, right? Add add time, tracking, modify time. Maybe just leave it at modify. So now we do want a thinner line to just show external, internal kind of things here. So we can also show how we might deploy this. Why is that not? I guess my lines aren't straight enough. Only wants to draw small boxes. Whatever. Let's just draw a horizontal line. The smart drawing is not so smart. All right. So that might be one box, right? Or it might be just a container. I think it's just a container, right? This outer one, but we can have those interesting talks about that either here or in the actual swim lanes here. So we could mark certain command handlers and certain commands and certain views with a different icon for what it's developed in or what team it belongs to, etc. You'll notice that obviously the events involved in such things will correlate as well. So you may want to just do that on the related event. And I think that might be the best way to do it. So if I use an icon, I guess we can have mushrooms for one team. I'm just trying to use some icons that people will see as jumping out. So mushroom team takes care of mostly what happens in these cases. Copy a couple of these guys. Just move them over using Shift and the arrow keys here to move around quickly. Pinch to zoom on the screen. The Shift just it's easier to move them around like that. Sometimes it's easier with your hands. So the mushroom team might take care of these, and by association, they'll be taking care of those command handlers because the event is just the event. It's stored on a common event storage mechanism that we haven't come up with yet, but we'll show that below. So when we have these things as Docker containers, I'm not even sure if this is needed, this border around here. I really think that these borders are good enough to say they're Docker containers, or they can just be processes. I'm not really a fan of Docker. I had to use it in anger for an entire year at active state, and for certain things it's good. I don't think it should be used by default. I think you should have really good governance as to how you code anyway, so that you can just manage processes on a box. But that's just me being really old and neckbeard these days, I guess. Back when servers were more pets than cattle. And underneath here, I guess I will use this. We have our event store. And I'm not talking about the product event store. I'm talking about file system, a database, anything. We may have more than one. Currently we have this one, but we can do more. And as these things are, there's two things that are shared here. So event store is one thing that's getting shared because it is being used by this implementation to store and to why am I not getting a connection? That's odd. Getting it from this one. I think it was a sticky of some sort. Okay. Sorry, Krzysztof, I'm using not square lines. Krzysztof, maybe there's a reason that you use square lines instead of squiggly lines in some cases. Did you want to say something about this?
Sometimes when we have a lot of lines, I grouping only one reason, and more clear when I have complex area, only this reason.
I see. So it's just to make sure that it's not confusing if there's too many lines.
Yes, because sometimes I have a lot lines.
Yeah.
I don't see anything.
Yeah, it's hard to decipher what's going on. So there's two things, the 2 points of integration here that need to be addressed. And one of them is that obviously we share state through the events. The whole thing about event modeling is that we have state as the ultimate integrator of our system. It is the only thing that's really left behind. And that's why we, when I have one piece of that implementation done in .NET, right? The mushroom can be .NET, and we can figure out another. Sorry, I didn't finish this one. The team 2. We had Mario. Do we have Mario? Yes, we do. Okay, so Mario it is. Team Mario is gonna take care of everything else, so we can copy that and paste it. Ooh, I don't want to make them bigger. You just want small little icons to realize who's working on what. We can quickly take a look, and of course we can have more elaborate description. So here we can, maybe use different colors. The red mushroom would probably be better as a green one since Mario is red. There's that Wario. Oh, that's Mario. Okay. Everyone understands that, and how we actually implement the solution. Obviously, we can. In this case, let's just make it a little bigger. Come on. There we go. We can show which team is doing what. So this is very easily transformed into just an extra bit of information that can be shown here or here. If people are curious, this ends up being a default pattern, so I don't think it's really necessary on your event model. I think as you get used to doing this over and over again with different teams, different projects, you'll have fewer and fewer markups in your event model. And the reason we're doing it here like this and exploring it with this diagram is just to show how it maps to traditional things that you might get out of UML, and how you get the same benefits from something that's a lot more meaningful to doing user interaction and other things that are user-centric. So let me just copy the mushroom too. So we know that we're doing that, and that will get us into development. So a lot of .NET people, which is great in some respects, but we do want to have two. Okay, so here we have the two teams that are going to be working on different pieces, and here we have marked up which command handlers and event handlers those things are part of. Now, here's the question. When you have, I'm trying to find an example of this. Here's one. Okay, so we have one team, a .NET team, that's going to do the approval, which this invoice teams something. I'm not sure if that was a typo.
Timesheet.
Timesheet. Ah, yes, timesheet. Thank you. There we go. Timesheet. So this is an interesting one because what we have is a team that would be developing in .NET here because they're doing the command handler for the approval. And then we have another command handler for the submission being done in Node.js. Both of these events end up doing this invoice timesheet. So which team gets to work on this? These are the interesting boundaries that you come across and why you assign the vertical slices of work by the command handler and event handler. So I'm guessing we do need to make a decision on that. For most purposes, when we're dealing with the same domain, all of that is going to be one stack, maybe two if you do it on purpose. It's something that's actually a good idea to do that. But here we need to